Right. We need to talk. We need to talk about podcasting. We need to talk about why your marketing's not working for your podcast. Why do you keep doing all the same things that you're doing and then wondering why your numbers aren't going up? Listen, I'm going to talk to you about the Discoverability Triangle today. That's a triangle. Listen, discoverability, it's on the tip of most podcasters' tongues. Well, it's not really, is it? You've probably never bloody heard of it. Now listen, here's what discoverability is, right? If you're a tech guy, I'm a tech guy. I run Rebel-based media, we build podcasting products. That's kind of boring. But the deal is, when you see all these really interesting articles out there on the web talking about the problems with the industry and why discoverability is such a problem, all they do is focus on the technology. How come Google Podcasts can't make it easier to share? How come this? How come that? Tech's a problem in podcasting. We aren't going to fix it as podcasters today. There are tech companies like Google, like Spotify, like Apple, like us at Rebel-based media that are trying to get better at that. But as a podcaster, I'm a podcaster as well. Yeah, I am. I do. I podcast a lot. I'm a bit of a geek. In fact, it even says so on my t-shirt. And we can't affect that problem. It's up to the people building the tech to fix that problem. So discoverability for us is slightly different. Now, I'm going to talk to you about this triangle. I should probably do something better with that. There are 3 pillars to discoverability. And as a podcaster, you've got to be aware of them, all right? Because if you're aware of them, you can get around them, or at least you can understand them, and you can start to market your podcast in such a way that it overcomes each one of these pillars. So here are the 3 pillars of podcast discoverability as I see them. We've got a problem in podcasting in that we believe that because we're in podcasting that it's a huge medium. Well, guess what? It isn't. It is not. It's still pretty cottage, all right? It's still a pretty small industry when you look at the numbers. It is, I'm sorry, but it really, really is. Now, what that means for us is that the first part of the discoverability problem is people simply don't know about podcasting. So we can put all our amazing pull quotes on Instagram, we can put all our fancy little clips with audio waves over it on our social media. But if someone doesn't know what a podcast is, all they'll do is look at that and think, well, that's nice. We don't grow. So that's discoverability pillar number 1. People that simply don't know about podcasting, all right? Discoverability pillar number 2. People that do know about podcasting, but that don't care about us. I'm sorry to say it, but there are people that listen to podcasts that don't care about you or your show. In fact, they don't know. Just because we have a podcast doesn't mean that people will listen to it. It's interesting because those people already know about podcasting, so theoretically they could be a little easier to get to. If we are producing content that they like, it would be easier to get them to listen, in theory, because they know about podcasting. There isn't an educational challenge that goes with that. The fact that out of 600,000 podcasts, people who already listen to podcasts might not know about you. And then the third piece, the third pillar of the trifecta. The third pillar of discoverability for podcasts is very, very simple. What is the most effective way of marketing? We know that since the dawn of time, it has been word of mouth. You tell me that you like something, I go and take a look. You tell me enough, I keep looking. You tell me again, I keep looking. Did you watch that silly fire documentary? No, I've not seen that. Dude, you need to watch it. Well, guess what I'm going to do if people tell me? I'm going to watch it. Now, the third piece and the third pillar of podcast discoverability is you probably aren't creating content that matters enough to people for them to share it, and rave about it. You're creating content that matters to you, and that's wonderful, that's amazing, but it doesn't matter enough to someone else for them to get their phone out, fiddle around, find their phone, get it out of the pocket from listening to the podcast, open up the podcast app and click share. Now forget the tech. If someone cares about your content enough, we've got to make sure that it matters enough to them that they get their phone out of their pocket and they share that damn thing. If you aren't creating content that hits emotional triggers, that matters or entertains someone enough, then they ain't sharing it. Why do you think memes exist? Memes are like the scourge of the internet. They're just, and I love them. But the reason that they go so viral and they go so crazy is because they're a little bit weird and they're entertaining. They make people laugh out loud, like an actual lol. Legit. The reason I'm telling you the 3 pillars of podcast discoverability is that in another video, I'm going to talk to you about how your marketing for your podcast probably isn't working, because you're probably only doing one type of marketing, which is probably only overcoming one of the 3 podcast discoverability pillars. You're only ticking off one part of that triangle of discoverability. So just to recap, discoverability in podcasting has 3 issues. Number 1, people simply don't know about podcasts. They need help, they need educating. Number 2, people who do know about podcasts probably don't know about you. And then number 3, honestly, sorry, do you know what, I'm not sorry. You're probably not creating content that's entertaining enough, that hits emotional triggers enough, that adds enough quality value. You're not doing enough to make it easy for your people to share, because something has to move you or entertain you, make you cry with laughter in order for you to want to share it. So they're the 3 pillars. Go and subscribe to the channel below. Share this with all your podcasting friends. I think everyone needs to know this. Check out my post on podcast discoverability on the Rebel Base Media blog, rebelbasemedia.io. Like I said, subscribe, share, and just comment below. If you've got anything that you think I've missed, maybe I'm talking crap, let me know in the comments. And I'll see you next time, all right?